Hey everyone, welcome back to Pretending with Dice. As always, I'm your host and game master, AJ. Just a real short intro this time around. This episode is our look back at our Star Wars storyline, Tempest Squadron. It's just kind of a chilled out discussion between myself and the main cast. Plus we answered a few questions that were sent in. One thing that I did want to quickly mention / announce is that next episode we'll be starting our first ever Shadowrun 5th edition storyline, and it's being GM'd by our very own frazzled wizard Eden, who you've heard portraying Krantz on our D&D stories. It was his first ever time GMing anything, and he really did just an amazing job. We can't wait for you all to hear it, so tune back in next time for the start of that. Alright then, so without any further ado, let's get into our look back at Tempest Squadron. Hey everyone, welcome to our little hangout discussion thing. I'm very tired. It's very warm. It's very warm.
Avoid England. It's hot as hell.
Yeah, unless you're like anywhere else where it's hotter, but you're all used to it.
Yeah.
So pasty.
Caribbean, we're talking to you.
So much swamp ass going on in this room right now.
I feel sorry for you guys on the leather sofa.
I feel sorry for your leather sofa.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't have to sit on it.
Any plastic sheets, AJ?
Just put the tarp down everywhere just in case. Well, we're here today to talk about our just finished Star Wars storyline, Tempest Squadron.
Yay!
For you guys, it finished a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
When we had the recording. For me, it finished like 36 hours ago, something like that. I will say as well, there's going to be a fair amount of background noise probably in this episode because it's super hot, and we've got all the windows open so we don't die.
Yeah, because there's no AC in the UK.
Yeah, we don't have it. We're getting by on our own personal AC, which is
not a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, the gentle breeze of cars driving past the window that's all we're getting.
That's the trade-off.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Passing Fort Mondeo is all we have for sustenance.
Yeah, if they've got their windows down and their AC on, oh boy.
Boy, we're cooking with gas.
Maybe get the occasional carny walking past as well.
Yeah, that's the other thing as well. So the part of the background noise, on one side of my house there's a fairground. On the other side of the house there's a music festival. So like
I mean, it's August.
Just to remind everybody, AJ doesn't live in New Orleans. This is
boom, 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 boom.
I live in the car park of Coney Island.
Going to see the elephant.
Yeah. Anyway, we're here to talk about our Star Wars thing. We had a 6-episode run. Did you guys all have fun doing it?
I mean, what's a Star War for first?
The oldest question.
The OED defines Star Wars as...
I'm so sick of all these Star Wars.
No, it was the most fun. Like I laughed harder than I have done in a long time during the sessions that we had. I mean, admittedly, a lot of the stuff I was laughing at didn't make it into the episode.
Yeah, a lot of
the stuff that did make us laugh came from you, Ollie. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
there's an amazing
great.
bad edit out there.
There is,
yeah, it's a very different podcast before it gets edited. Very, very different.
Yeah.
I would like to hear how there's like. Apparently there's like a 4-hour cut of like Spinal Tap with like all of their improvising and stuff in it apparently out there somewhere. I'd like to hear like the 8-hour it must be minimum 8 hours long.
Oh yeah,
like,
I mean we did
sessions.
3 sessions, each of which was like 3 hours long.
Yeah.
So we're talking like Lord of the Rings saga length cut of the what is currently 5 hours 20 minutes or something as it is at the moment.
Yeah. All the jacking off jokes.
Oh god, yeah, they all got cut.
All the dick jokes, all the
a lot of the off-color stuff.
Yeah.
I got to hear back through all of that as I was cutting, but like if you guys got like a favourite bit that you remember but that didn't make it into the episode at all. We should probably say, okay, so yeah, anytime there was like an awkward silence, you would have Nock be like, well, I guess I'll go jerk off.
Basically, the more important thing was that if there was any like length of time being mentioned, it was like, if how long does it take to get to wherever it is that we're going to?
Yeah, you're flying somewhere.
Yeah, you're flying somewhere, and then someone would ask how long it is till we get there. Fnock would immediately just like, there'd be like a pause, and then Fnock would just go, I guess I'll go jerk off, like just to fill the time,
like every single time.
It was like every time like any unit of any like measurement of time was mentioned, Fnock would just fill that time by rubbing one out.
That actually became a problem in the second episode because you had like a throat infection or something, and I really needed you to come back in and re-record one of the lines because all I had of you was you going, I guess I'll go jerk off. That was all I had to work with. So I had to, but then you couldn't make it back over to re-record a bit. Like the other two had been over to do stuff.
Yeah, I'd lost my voice that week. I remember that. Yeah.
And, so I had to make do with me I straight up said it up front. Like, there's quite a lot of my kind of DM narration that got replaced. So I had to, in that episode, in that bit, make do with me being like, make fake asking you a question, be like, so I guess you're just going to go lie down, and I had to snip out from an earlier part of the episode you going, yeah.
It's very much. So I grab a sweet can.
Yeah,
it's like a version of that.
It was like rock bottom.
So you grab her can.
Yeah. This is probably the most heavily edited thing we've put out.
But that was purposefully done as well because you wanted to develop something that was heavily edited just as well, right?
More like an audio drama.
You wanted something really quite
session.
Yeah, I mean, going into it, that was the idea anyway.
It came out great.
It did.
Yeah. Props to the DM for doing that.
Yeah. Like, I was going to say, props to for AJ for being a master editor. Excuse me. Don't edit that.
I'm not editing. I'm leaving in all of it. I can't be bothered.
I'm day drinking.
Ollie is drinking a beer right now.
Well, we're just going off of a run of 6 episodes where each one took me minimum 30-40 hours to this one where I'm just gonna snip the front off and shove the opening theme music on it.
This is a holiday. This is a holiday for AJ.
No, you don't even know.
But no, he managed to whittle down that, like we said, the 3.5-4 hours worth of ramblings we did in the 3 sessions we did, into something listenable.
Something that actually keeps you engaged.
Not only listenable, but good,
entertaining.
It plays out it sounds like it belongs in a Star Wars.
Belongs in a museum.
It sounds like it should be a film or a TV show. It's definitely got a Star Wars feel to it, and that's where it works really well. It's just the music cues, the edits, the things that are said, the characters, the characterization of those characters. It all fits the universe, and that's why it works so well.
100%. There are way more clunky Star Wars related things that are officially endorsed by the Lucas estate.
So some of them 3 movies made by George Lucas.
Whoa.
That's right. Shots fired.
I thought we weren't talking about those.
No, I'm not claiming to be better than
when
that.
When is Attack of the Clones coming out in 3D? I feel like they've been dragging their heels on that.
They brought out episode 1 in 3D. We'll be like, hey, we're going to re-release them.
We're going to do all of them in 3D because everyone loves 3D almost as much as they love the prequels.
People love the prequels.
But yeah, shots fired at...
Yeah.
I'm not claiming to be better.
Calling you out, Lucas. Also, thank you for not
thank you for not suing
us. Take our podcast down.
Well, I don't know, it's early days.
He's not in. He doesn't care anymore. He's done.
Well, I don't know. I think I might ask them to take down the. I can't do George Lucas. I can do many voices. I can't do George Lucas.
It's quite quiet and light in there.
Yeah. Hey, you guys.
Do you remember when
faster and more intense?
When they re-released the original trilogy in '97 with all the kind of added,
I had the VHS set, the gold VHS.
Yeah, because there was that intro. Every film had that intro with George Lucas
talking about the bits that he made the edits to. Yeah,
I just remember for some reason it's stuck in my brain forever. Like the Return of the Jedi one, just because I guess I watched it so many times as a kid. Just him going, so in Jedi we made several changes. And then
his way of talking to the camera is just
going straight into Jedi.
Eyes barely open, he looks like French Stewart from from the Sun. He's just not even interested in his own bullshit.
But I love those.
Again, thank you, George. Thank you for not.
I don't remember those intros at all, but what I do remember, mainly because we had, before the special editions came out, we had the original cuts on VHS, and each VHS had a third of an interview in front of the movie of George Lucas being interviewed by Leonard Maltin.
Oh wow!
And these must have come out in '95.
Are these the ones with the red lettering on the sleeves? It was all kind of
I don't remember, man.
I've got all 3 of those.
I was less than. I was super young.
But these were, I think these are the original cuts before.
This was before the special editions came out.
I've got them. I know the ones you're referring to.
I remember them. I don't remember the It must have only been in the cinema that the bits with George Lucas in front of
they were in like because I remember like getting one Christmas getting like a box set of all three of the movies in a special like gold box that you had to take
the sleeve came off. It was Vader's helmet, wasn't it?
Yes, and if you pushed it back together, it made a fart sound, which was very funny.
Yes, it was very satisfying.
We must have had them. I just don't remember.
Do you remember going to see those in the cinema when they came?
Yeah,
I saw
the first two. I didn't get around to seeing Jedi because we were in the process of moving house.
I remember my dad took me and my brother to see them.
Where did you see them? Because I think weird enough, I think I saw them here we're in
Bournemouth, we went to the Odeon.
I saw them at the Regent Centre, which is the cinema that's like a road away from where we're recording this right now.
Yeah. Got the best sound system.
No, I mean, it's a very old theatre.
We went and saw Force Awakens there when it was still in cinemas, and they'd just put in a new theatre frame over the stage, and anytime there was any kind of rumble of the Force or anything, the whole thing was like
that's pretty badass.
It added an element of danger to the movie that wasn't there when I saw it in a proper cinema.
Watching The Last Jedi when Rey's trying to float the rocks or whatever, and whole stage.
It's exactly that. That was exactly that, except it was like Kylo Ren catching a bolt in midair, but us all thinking well, here we go, here we die. How on earth did we get onto that?
I'm not sure. We were talking about the special edition.
Oh yeah. That was it. You were saying you had the George Lucas things before the.
That's sort of that'll be my forever memory of George Lucas, is him introducing Return of the Jedi and just being the most boring man alive.
The first time I actually watched the Star Wars films in full, the first two at least, was actually when the special editions were at the cinema, and I remember going to Warner Brothers cinema in Purley Way, which at the time was it was a massive building. It was awesome. They had giant statues of bloody Looney Tunes all over the place. And I remember being totally engrossed in the films, because normally I'm in a film and I'm sat there eating popcorn, but as a kid, as soon as Star Wars came on, the crawl began, I was glued to it. I didn't look around at anyone next to me, my parents, my grandparents, nothing, just engrossed. And then after that I missed watching Jedi at the cinema, but thankfully we had the VHSs, so I went back and watched that after coming home from Empire, and I was hooked from that point on. Previously, I'd watched bits of the films on the VHS, the widescreen versions that came out, but never got all the way through because my attention just wasn't held. But in the cinema, I was in awe of the whole thing. So yeah, the special editions are the things that I remember the most, but I prefer the VHS versions before they came out, because it still works without all the edits to it, I think.
It's other than cartoons and stuff, the original Star Wars is the first movie I remember watching, because we had a VHS copy that my parents had taped off of the television. This would have been 92, 93, around about then.
Videotape recording craze, yeah.
And there's one cut in it when when the door comes down, when they're Dr. Ball's there about to inject Princess Leia with the truth serum thing.
Dr. Ball.
Yeah. Dr. Ball. Yeah. You know the one.
Probe droid thing. Yeah.
And now, Your Highness, we will discuss the location of your hidden rebel base.
Yeah, and the door goes. There's a real hard cut to some steps going along. For ages, I thought that they'd messed up and accidentally stopped the recording and cut in, because it's such a harsh cut.
Quite a harsh edit.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, it really.
There's some faulty edits in it.
Either that, or I thought it was a TV edit, and they'd cut out a bit where they stabbed Princess Leia to death or something.
Speaking of weird TV edits, I remember for years the only copy of Ghostbusters 2 I had was one that we'd recorded off of the TV.
Yeah,
and there's a bunch of stuff that they didn't edit out in that film for TV, which they probably should have, because I remember being traumatized by that scene in the subway tunnel with the severed heads on the spikes and everything.
Yes, I echo this. I feel exactly the same. That scared the shit out of me.
One thing that I noticed that they did edit out when I finally got the VHS of Ghostbusters 2 is that the scene where Ray and Winston show up at the kids' party.
Yeah,
and it kind of cuts to a few of the kids around the room chanting and then looking disappointed. The only edit they seem to have made for the TV version, which to this day I'm not sure why, there's a little black girl that looks very she's cheering and then is very disappointed when Ray and Winston walk out. That's not that wasn't in the TV version. For some reason,
that's a weird cut.
It's very odd. Yeah, like all the like angry little white kids around the room, and then just this one little black girl.
Do you think there's like a weird like background thing that nobody noticed before, where there's like a legit dead person in the background, or something, and then they're like, "Oh, we better cut that out. We only just realised that."
Yeah, there's like a painting of like Princess Diana in the background or something, and they're just like
there's a dead munchkin hanging from a tree in the background.
That the ghost from Three Men and a Baby is he's also in the background of that shot.
All these great ghost Easter eggs made it into Ghostbusters 2, and you've got to really respect the filmmakers for that.
Yeah.
So anyway, back to our thing. So
where did you see Ghostbusters, Star Wars for the first time?
And also Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters 2.
I probably saw Ghostbusters and Star Wars I watched last month. So
first time
you've ever seen
research for the podcast.
No. What's this Star Wars that people keep talking about?
I'm still wondering what
Get the Oxford English Dictionary out.
Star Wars. Honestly, I don't have a memory. I didn't have the 97 in my time frame. So it's a real downbeat, sad story there for you.
That's fair enough.
No special editions for me.
Was that before your time? Or?
No, because I'm the same age as you guys. So
sure?
Pretty close.
Yeah, Mark and I got the exact same birthday. So
it's freaky.
It's odd. So the 97s didn't. It's okay. They weren't on my radar at all. No sign. No memory of seeing them. The earliest film I can remember seeing in cinema is probably Toy Story.
Nice.
But that's a different story.
About toys.
About toys.
You kind of covered that right there, didn't
absolutely.
you? Yeah.
So no, I really was an episode 1 kid. So my earliest visual memory is Radio Times and Darth Maul's face on the cover, massive.
Yes,
and that was so striking. I've still got that issue.
Hang on, were you the kid?
I came back and found all the.
Were you the kid in Spaced who tried to buy the Jar Jar figure and Simon Pegg ripped the shit out of him?
Probably.
Were you that kid?
Yeah, I was that guy.
People like you make me sick.
No, it was
Simon Pegg, kind of like being a precursor to Reddit. There is
pretty much. Yeah,
that's where it all started.
Well, I'm there now. I realise I'm Simon Pegg's character.
You've taken over.
I've taken over for that. So.
You kids don't know what you want. That's why you're still kids. Because you're stupid.
That kid wanted a Jar Jar doll. Kids like Jar Jar. Why?
So anyway, to go back then. So we had the jerk off jokes. Okay, that was how I just remember. I remembered how we got to that is jokes and things that got cut.
Yeah. For me, the thing that got cut. The things I like that got cut was. Every now and again, I would slip in a pop culture reference of something, and AJ was able to pick up on most of them and cut them out, except for one, which snuck in by because he wasn't aware of what it was.
Yep,
that was the Brooklyn Nine-Nine in episode. I think it was episode 4 before we did the infiltration.
Yeah, you tell me, I didn't.
Yeah, because I thought he was going to cut it, but I was surprised to hear the edit, and he left it in. It's when was it Vala? Which she was talking about not wanting to spend any time.
Vela,
yeah. She didn't want to spend any time.
Still confusing.
Listening to her workmates get busy, and I just did a Jake Peralta, and I was like, "Oh, okay, cool, no doubt."
Yeah, but that sounds like a legit reaction. It doesn't sound like you're going off on an extended.
No, it doesn't. No.
You should have just gone 9-9 at the end, and I would have got that.
Yeah, go 9-9. Yeah.
Other than that,
I had to explain. I said to AJ afterwards, "How come he didn't cut that?" And he went, "Cut what?" And I had to explain it to him. But his vigilance went straight up after that.
In general, all of that stuff gets cut.
I thought it was weird that the other thing you left in was the bit where Glitchy is like, most people on this planet get busy living or get busy dying, and then just goes right back to his,
at one point Glitchy had the entire speech from Shawshank Redemption in there. It was weird and out of place, and in retrospect
Fine was the kind of guy
to not crawl through a river of shit. But no, I think like that was kind of my hard and fast rule, was like, I'm not going to leave in any
we're not Family Guy.
No referencing outside of
outside the
I relaxed that a little bit with some of Thnok's stuff, but that was kind of like, I was like, I'm going to have one character break the fourth wall. Thnok's kind of like,
he's the one to do it.
Well, your kind of attitude and how you played the character, it fit better, I think. And especially because most of yours were out of character.
Yeah, exactly.
Talking, you weren't saying. It wasn't like Klein was saying stuff.
No.
It was just a kind of out of character thing. I was like, okay, well, this is a little.
Yeah, and I was absolutely fine with that. Which is, I was kind of surprised that the Peralta thing ended up staying in, but
Well, again, because it's just
your vigilance level increased after that, which it was brilliant. I think anything that's a Star Wars reference is fair enough, I think.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, well, those were kind of left in as like a sort of like, okay, yeah, we're hitting all of the Star Wars beats.
A lot of moon talk,
moon talk. I've seen a few moons.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, so what was your guys' like favourite character?
Well, I was going to say,
I'm not fishing for like, hey, tell me which one of my voices was the best, you guys.
Before we get onto that, I was going to say the thing that made me laugh, like probably the hardest. That
oh god, I know exactly what you're going to say.
Oh no,
because we all lost it for like 5 minutes.
This is come on, please.
It was like
spit it out, man.
I was listening with bated breath, and it's in the most recent episode as well. It's when I'm like during the firefight on the ramp, with the Imperial guys after I steal the speeder. And I'm just like trash talking to one of the like Imperial guards that's chased us. After I've got to the top of the ramp, I'm just like, I think it's after Cortez got hit in the shoulder, and I was just like,
oh yeah,
don't make me come down there. And then, like,
the only bit that got left in with you going like, I saw that, you Imperial bastard.
Yeah, I saw that, you Imperial bitches.
Yeah, and then I think you go like, don't make me come down there. And he's like, come back. And
I said, don't make me come down there. And then the Imperial guy is like, you just, because I've just spent 3 turns getting up the ramp. Like, so it's like, but you just came all the way up there. And then for some reason, some part of my brain short circuited. I just went, I'm gonna come in your ass. And it
was one of those weird moments.
It
was like an oddly like double threat of like
this is somehow
the most awful thing that could happen to that stormtrooper.
Somehow a threat and a self-own at the same time. Like, it was just
I think it's worth pointing out that last session, about an hour of that 4-hour time was spent just laughing and.
Yeah, you don't need to tell me that.
You listened through it.
I would put that back in at the end of this. Just clip it on the end.
Yeah, you
I'll have to try and find it.
This whole Lord of the Rings comparison thing, this saga.
Oh god,
should people expect an extended cut?
I don't think so. It's very
people
very.
Want it, AJ.
People want it.
It's very very different. A lot of the plot points. Didn't change, but like certain moments got added and a lot got taken out, and
the cantina stuff. I think a lot of that got added because we just.
Well, no, because most of the cantina stuff was in the original recording. In I think it's episode 4. Episode 4. Most of that was in our original recording, but of course with me doing different voices instead, which then got replaced. Although actually a lot of my ones stayed in, like the drunk guy. Yeah. And then I just went back and redid the voice where you accidentally hit on those guys.
That was funny. That was funny. I think that whole sequence was just brilliant. Me deliberately pushing Cortez to go and talk to the drunk lady.
I think all of my favourite stuff across the whole like run of the show was like anything where we were in that cantina was just always like just the funniest stuff.
You standing at the jukebox,
me trying to like all of us like trying to intimidate the droid behind the bar and it not working.
All of us, that was you.
No, I think like
got in his face.
We all tried to we all tried to quote unquote negotiate with the droid to get the information we were after. It's just mine, ended up with me shooting into the ceiling and then part of the ceiling falling on my head.
Yeah, and then we go back to the canteen the next day and you're just like, hey man, that hole, you should really get that fixed. And I'm just like there, like, you sure you want to bring that up right now?
It was
little moments like that where it's like trying to keep us from getting kicked out. It was just funny. I think Knock in a Box was funny as well.
Yeah.
Episode 5. Just shut up. Keep quiet.
Speaking
of, you guys really didn't have a great plan going into that.
It was a brilliant plan. It wasn't a plan.
It was terrible. It was really just god awful.
It was like jazz, man. It was just we went with the flow.
You've got a little guy. He fits in a toolbox. What's not to love?
Yeah, but I 100% wasn't expecting you guys to split up at all.
Oh.
Like I had that was not not even in like the furthest realms of possibility did I think.
We're not going to do that.
I thought
we have to plan for that eventually.
Yeah, exactly. I you had the uniforms, you had someone who worked there, and like the only thing was like, okay, well we need to get Snock in, so he's going to go in the toolbox. So I was like, okay, so in my head I was like, it's going to go a few different ways, but all of them included you guys carrying him in the box, maybe getting him out of the box at some point and all sneaking around.
Nah.
Like,
Put him in the vending.
and then the first thing you say when you get it, like at the start of the episode is like, right, because we're going to drop Thnock off and then we're going to go do this. And I was like, wait, what?
You sure about that?
So
One little guy can get around quieter than two massive guys with him.
I know, but you look like you were meant to be there. Like there was no reason.
Yeah, but I didn't really think about that till just now when you said it. Yeah, if we went to all that trouble to steal uniforms of people that worked there, right? It wasn't really.
I think it was the feeling that an Ugnaught would stand out like a sore rough thumb that he looks like anyway.
Yeah. Like a thumb in a jumpsuit.
A thumb in a
A
jumpsuit.
Thnock thumb.
And so we're just like, let's get rid of that dude because he'll draw attention. I think that might have been the thinking at the time.
Yeah, I think it was like, we've got the uniforms we can get in. There wasn't really any sort of like thought of like, well, I guess we'll stay here. No, it was more just sort of like, we've got to get in. We like the thing is getting into the facility. That's all we're trying to do. And then
I think what we were trying to do was kind of instead of doing one thing then going to do the other thing and risk the Imperials noticing that we've done something and then chasing after us. I think the idea was we tackle both problems at the same time and try and save time.
Well, the thing was the other one wasn't really a problem. It's literally just you got to go here and meet this guy. That was where it was like it was very much like a split in the danger levels between the two. One of them was the mission, and the other one was the thing you were meant to do after the mission. Instead, they both happened at the same time. And
leaving that facility after the power comes off, I think the thought. Well, in my head was if we attract the wrong attention when people are panicking trying to get the power on, they're going to notice us and chase us anyway.
I think there was only a panic because you started shooting people as well, Ollie. So that was kind of the whole stealth thing went out the window. Like I gave you the option there, but it was like you were away. You were clear they didn't know you were there. You'd already
shot him anyway.
I mean, I adjusted my narration a little bit in the edit, but like you had shut down the power core, and it was going to take them some time to start it up.
My logic there was I wanted to bias as this is true. I'm not just saying this. My logic there was I wanted to bias as much time as possible. So I knew it was going to, even though it might have taken a while to get the power back up, I was like, oh no, you don't. Like, you're not turning the power back on today. And then I killed one of them and then just alerted the other guy to my presence.
I think the mistake made there then was not making sure that other guy was also quieted downstairs. Instead, you ran upstairs with him firing after you.
Yeah, I abandoned that plan pretty quickly once I realized I could die. And I wouldn't have any, because we'd split up, I wouldn't have any support. It's just like, oh shit, I'm on my own.
Well, that was the thing as well. It was like, I did not have any, like, anything really planned for, like, you guys not all being together there. Yeah. Sort of thing. So I was kind of winging it at that point, really.
I mean, if I was smart, I would say that, you know, we were trying to circumvent the rules of storytelling.
Status quo.
Because
status quo.
Because in things like Star Wars, you know, the initial plan that people come up with always goes wrong,
and they have to improvise on the fly.
We were just
based on what AJ said, nothing was going wrong at that point when we.
No, you were doing a really good job.
We were, yeah. And of course, Vela kept that Imperial officer away, just out. I suppose that probably was the sign for us to have stayed there and just made sure we got you out. But you know,
well, no, that wasn't so much that. That was more like. Okay, well, I just had, with every episode, like, I had a series of, like, moments I wanted to hit, and that was one where I was like, okay, I want to raise the tension a bit, because he's the one guy in the base who would know that she's not meant to be there, sort of thing.
Sorry.
Right.
Carry on.
Yeah. So that was more of like a tension raising thing, and I had this. I just had like an idea in my head of like you guys are like one side of a door all hiding while she's trying to sort of talk way out of things, and that could have gone sideways depending on what you guys decided to do. You could have busted out and started shooting him or whatever.
That would have really screwed things up.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree that Thnock in the toolbox was a genius idea. He fit perfectly.
It was a good little gag moment.
I just love the bit where you're just like, I love you guys. This wrenches in my ass.
Yeah.
Things like that. It's
just to be clear though, the box did have wheels. You guys didn't.
Oh, because we did the search and we rolled so bad.
You both had no.
See the wheels.
Yeah, there's some pretty low rolls on that. So I was just like,
I think I rolled on that and I was actually carrying it perfectly. And Mark was just like, I can't hold this.
I had a lot of stuff like planned as like eventualities, but that was an in the moment thing. And I like as soon as you were like, we'll put him in the box, and I was like, well, of course the box would have wheels. And then it came up like 10 minutes later where you were like, it would be good if this box had wheels. But like the way you worded it, I was just like, I'm just going to mess with you.
But that's also one of my favorite things. Is like when someone like rolled super low on something, like with the like when we're checking the sensors to see if there's
all three.
Oh yeah,
and it's just like who was it? Was it you who went first?
I might have gone first.
Cortez went first and rolled like
good
super low.
skills or something.
But then the two of you rolled really high, but like.
Yeah, but
you just didn't believe.
I think Klein then like rolled and it was high enough and it was like, yeah, you don't see anything. And then I was just like, I just thought it'd be funny, just be like, yeah, take a look at this bad boy, and like three dads at a barbecue, just all kind of like fighting about.
That's not how you want to grill. This is how you want to grill.
Making sure that everything's getting grilled properly.
That was great.
Throw some Pasco on this bad boy, and you're talking.
A lot of stuff kind of changed in the edit, but little moments like that were just that was those kind of things were great.
I think some of the highlights for me, I think, were interactions that involved Thnock and KLC, either talking to other characters or just generally being rude. I mean, Thnock just saying, Dolce, fuck you. Stuff like that.
Yeah, you really had a thing about hating on Dolce.
Like, right back then. Developed as it went on as well.
Well, it changed as well because, like, earlier on in it, like, the first time you get to the planet, the first time we did that little bit, you were fully, like, had your gun out, pointed at him, like, no, you unload this stuff.
The,
and then
barrels of piss.
And then we were like, maybe we should pull that back a little bit. And
that was just really funny to me. Like, he's just an NPC who is just trying to help us, and the idea that I was just sort of like, no, I'm not going to help you. Here's how far I'm willing to go to make sure that I don't have to help you do any manual labour.
I'm going to
just pulling out a gun.
That's the thing I actually wish hadn't been cut so badly, was because up until that point we had this whole fit of laughter about just your barrels of piss. I think I'm pretty sure that got cut down.
No, it got cut down. The barrels of piss
stayed in, and that was one of the funniest things that stayed in. I think.
Just not riding on the barrels
of piss. My dad did.
Took me off guard.
I played that part for my dad, and I told him we were doing like a Q&A episode today, and he was just sort of like, oh, okay, so why does the piss need to be hot though?
That's a solid question from your dad, and the reason is to keep it fresh.
I was going to say because
this is going out to you.
In the vacuum of space, it's naturally very cool. So really, you want
the piss will crystallize.
And piss comes out hot anyway, right?
Yeah, exactly. When it's the most fresh.
It's a good lubricant, hot piss.
So speaking of
Jesus Christ.
No, for engines, not for body parts. How many beers have you had, Ollie?
I'm not touching that one.
Nobody else should either. Just no.
Moving on.
Let's stop touching the hot piss.
Let's go away from the hot piss. But I think Ollie, Thnock and KLC, definitely brilliant. Neither of them took any shit, and those are some of the best.
Yeah, I think Rowena did a great job doing KLC's voice. A lot of those lines, most of those lines got changed after the fact in the edit in between our original recording and when Rowena and I recorded the sort of the overdubs on that. But
shout out to Rowena.
Rowena. For other droids as well, I think that's brilliant. Just insulting the astromechs towards the end of the story was.
Well, we kind of came up with that a little bit in the original bit, and then I was just like, well, I need to add some extra stuff. The last episode ran super short in the edit. And it was cut from like 2 hours. Like my first edit of it was like 40 minutes long, and I was like, I managed to claw back an extra 7 or 8 minutes of game time.
You get,
that shows how much shit we talk.
You can kind of tell, like from the amount of sort of like dialogue from like the NPCs and stuff, like all those little scenes and that. Like it's
anytime I'm talking to myself, that's been added after the fact.
But Rowena did a really great job of kind of being like throwing the exact right amount of shade, keeping that kind of droid
the way of speaking, but also having the kind of the attitude behind it as well.
And peek behind the curtain, like that, like Thnock and KLC are characters from a script that me and friend of the show Mike Bigby
did the voice of Glitchy.
Yes, Mike Bigby voiced Glitchy. That's their characters from a script that we worked on.
I was going to say as well to each of you, like, what was your thinking behind your characters? Like when you made them, but like you say, Thnock is from this thing that you've been writing.
Yeah, Thnock. We basically the idea behind Thnock was we wanted him to be like part like Danny DeVito's character in Always Sunny, and part Harris Whittles, the comedian that we really like, who used to write for Parks and Rec and Eastbound and Down and a bunch of other great shows, who passed away a few years ago, who's just sort of, more than anyone else was sort of able to sort of say these like super horrible, like just nasty things, but also be really charming about it. Like sort of talk about really fucked up stuff, but like make it seem funny. And so that was kind of we basically wanted to be like,
I think that came across. Yeah,
Frank Reynolds in space. We wanted to be like basically.
Well, that worked a lot with. I think it kind of changed as we went along, but it really at the beginning was like not. I think we didn't really even say it out loud, but it was kind of this idea that Snock's drunk all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think because I was drinking during our first session.
Oh yeah,
because
that's a big one.
Normally I'm used to like playing like D&D and stuff while drinking.
Oh yeah, we've had like when we've played D&D before, like you and Andy have been sitting there drinking the whole night and stuff.
Yeah, but Mike as well. Like Mike started we've just gotten through like an entire like crate of beer and stuff just by drinking. It's real kind of like Harmontown stuff. Like just drunk dickheads that have never played D&D before, and then a very patient games master. So that was what I was using. And then like I show up for our first session here, and I'm the only one drinking, but I have no shame
with carrier bags, clanking bottles.
Yeah. So
what are we doing here?
And I felt, like you said, I felt like it added to the character. And
it worked.
Yeah,
it
definitely did. Yeah.
I think some of the stuff like the hot barrels of piss probably came out of that a little bit.
Yeah.
Because that was right towards the end of that first session. And
I've got to be honest, I actually quite enjoyed my moments of as Klein just trying to rein Thnock in.
Yeah,
like when he's making noise, when we're trying to get into the Imperial facility, and just like keep your voice down.
That was that was really
toolboxes don't talk, that kind of thing.
That was like a fun dynamic. Like when you guys are talking about like card keys or something, and then I just yell from inside the box, "Are you guys talking about cards?"
Yeah, it's like shush.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed
that developed fairly quickly as well, didn't it? Of Klein being just barely tolerating Thnock, and being a little bit annoyed about everything that he's doing.
Yeah. In a loving way. And
then Thnock just insisting, "Okay, I'll be good, I'll be quiet," and then
every time, and be like,
and then 5 minutes later, he's acting up again. It's like in the canteen when we went back to the Sleeping Fleet. There are instances there where it's just like,
you're like, be quiet.
Up to now.
Yeah,
but I mean, your flying V. That was genius.
Such a big stretch.
Does the guitar even exist in the Star Wars universe?
How's Max Rebo?
Who knows? It does now.
Does Max Rebo?
Yeah.
Did he survive Jedi? I don't think he did.
Max Rebo.
Probably saw that going.
You hate to see it.
Poor bugger.
Yeah. R.I.P. Pour one out.
Pour one out for my homie Max Rebo.
Yeah. Well, in your case, it's Rob one out.
Yeah. Already.
I haven't got enough gas in me to do a Rick today.
No.
What about you, Mark? What did you think when you were putting together Cortez? Because it was kind of, I think you were the last one to put your character together.
The last one to really put everything together. Going back to like a year ago when we first even discussed it.
Was it that long ago? No, because about a year ago we started doing D&D on the pod. We started the podcast,
but I thought there was early talks midway through that.
About November time, we got like our group message chain together, didn't we? It was like about November, and I was like, "Hey, you guys should probably start talking." And
there was an initial period there where I was like, because, and this goes into a kind of a bigger feeling I've had since doing this. Is that when we're all fans of Star Wars, right? We're taking the piss and stuff, but it comes out of a place of love. And I came into it initially with the character thing, and I think you have quite a almost polished idea of what Star Wars is in your head, and that's why there's a lot of the troll and stuff goes to extremes with that. But I was coming into it initially like, you could really go behind the scenes and create this backstory and character, which I spoke to you a little bit about at the time, and I never quite went that far with it, but. I mean, it ends up, as always with me, it's just I just end up thinking I sound like a right old monotone voice person. That's all I've got in my voice unless I'm doing impressions. So what comes across is probably just half me anyway.
I think that worked though, because one of my favourite things, whether it's this or D&D, is to just
it's just dry.
Put characters like make you. One of my favorite things is to make you interact with characters that talk a lot
because it gets awkward super quick.
Because you're really good at doing like the like awkward, not wanting to be there kind of thing.
Yeah.
The first 2 episodes, his interactions with Vard, genius.
Well, you had it with Vard,
I
and then you
realised
had
that straight away. I jumped on that. I was like, okay, this dude is so kind of excitable about being just in space. I'm like, this is not going to go the way.
Well, that was like
not go the way.
That was 100% in the moment of like like I had him was like he was just going to be like fairly normal, and then immediately you were just like and I was like okay,
that's what
here we go. I was like,
start pushing the buttons.
I was like, okay, throttle up on this one,
I'm like, throttle down.
but then that happened later on again in the bar with Vala as well, where I was just like, okay, it's just gonna be a drunk person. I had an idea in my head of like, this was my thought process in the bar, was like, okay, you're going to talk to this person, they're going to have a name that's very similar to the one you're looking for, and they're also going to be quite drunk. And then as soon as you start talking, you're like, you just do, hey, how's it going? I was like,
lean in on
okay, here we go, throttle up again. It's my favourite thing in the world, and we've done it in D&D as well.
It does.
To be fair, I pushed his character into that.
It does come back.
I want an invite to the wedding.
Cortez's like fake laugh, probably one of the things that
that was earlier,
the hardest. Like listening back, like all the stupid shit I did aside, like it was like that was the funniest stuff.
I got promotion.
Like,
it was daft. Yeah, those moments.
It was really it was one of the most awkward scenes that I really wish we could visualise. Like,
it was kind of awkward visually anyway here probably when it happened.
It was,
the bar stuff. That
stuff was, and that's what I think in the bigger picture of it was fun about the character thing, because you have an image of Star Wars, and I was thinking, how is this going to fit in? Even as just a D&D fan thing. And then you realise really early on, like once you've got these characters, the whole point of why people love it in this expanded universe is that you can do whatever you want. So it really does feel like, okay, this is just the jokier side of things. But things fell in like it would. It's just that the camera's not on it, you know? It could be happening off to the side in the Mos Eisley Cantina.
Well, that was my thought. I was like, well, it's... I don't look at it as like, right, we're going into a bar, what kind of Star Wars stuff can happen in here? Exactly, I look at it as like... Your Star Wars is happening all around, and you guys just happen to be in a bar, and so there's going to be like the drunk, burnt out guy who had his speeder stolen. There's going to be like the slightly wino-ish sort of older lady who's just out looking to drink with someone.
It's kind of the holiday special, maybe.
And it just happened to be you, kind of thing.
And that's how I ended up seeing it. I was thinking like, this actually does work, because it is like it's that ragtag group of people. We just happen to be more ragtag than the ones that got shown in the movies.
So we're pretty ragtag.
They wouldn't show a camera to us.
The real Star Wars was the friends we made along the way.
Exactly. I met you guys. It's all good.
I do like the reference in I think it's the first episode where Vard says, "I heard they're giving out medals." That
was early
kind
solid.
Of like in bitching of like the like rebel pilots that are just sort of like, "Oh, I heard there was a ceremony. They're giving out medals."
And I mean, people have riffed on that in the past, but we had to do our own riff on it. Everyone, even the Wookiees.
Going into it, I had this was my thought process with every episode. Was like I had a series of like moments or images I wanted to hit on each one, because I know that you'd get a strong visual image off of them. And I really wanted to start, like even before I knew what I was going to do with the whole storyline anyway, I wanted to start with at least one of you in the
in that ceremony place.
In the throne room medal ceremony. And it ended up just being you, Mark.
Yeah, Klein was there.
Yeah. Well, that came a little bit later. Originally, my original plan was you were all going to be there.
I mean, we're going along with that visual where you have that key idea of what this was going to be.
Yeah.
The idea of that, like taking something very recognisable as the ceremony at the end of A New Hope, and then we're in the background. The best visual comparison is on YouTube, and we've all seen it, is where they've done the let's take the John Williams music out.
Without music.
And that kind of that 30 seconds sums up our entire podcast. I think.
It's like Star Wars stuff is happening. You just happen to be there. The guy coughing in the background.
That's where I was like, that's where we fit.
You're the guy coughing in the...
Exactly, and I thought that's where it fits.
You're the one guy where there's complete silence after ceremony, and then suddenly the ringtone goes off. Sorry.
Yeah.
Very much the Rosencrantz and Guildenstern of the Star Wars universe.
Oh, good God, man.
I think I'll touch on that in a minute, but okay, so just round this bit out then. So did you have any thoughts going in with Klein that you didn't end up doing, or what was your...
Well, I don't know, with Klein, I mean, you and I spoke long before we started recording about...
we actually made Klein way before these two came in.
I think I was the first one that was...
Like 2 months before recording, and then Cortez was like the week before, and Fnock was like a few days before that, I think.
Yeah, I was like, what am I going to do? This guy from the thing we've been working on. Okay, yeah, that's cool. That gets me out of having to think of
anything.
And
that did show up straight away, because when you did, Mark, when you did your Klein thing, I was like, oh, somebody's brought something with them. Like, the American accent and everything. I was like, okay.
That terrible American accent that I could not hold for the life of me.
I mean, they do that in Star Wars as well. They drop it out.
I know, but the thing is, I do Amdram. I should be able to do this properly. I should have picked a better accent. But
it was no solid. You kept it up throughout. Like anytime Klein was talking, he was mostly.
No, there wasn't. No, there was a bit in episode 6 when we're talking on the comms, and I do it because you put the effect on me talking.
Yeah, but like,
and I went full English for a brief second. Then I suddenly went, "Steal a speeder."
I think we all know that episode 6 we were all dead by that point.
We were, yeah. To be fair, we were dead. Yes,
it's not an exaggeration to say we've been going for 4 hours.
It was like episode 6 was the last 2 hours of a 4-hour session in a very, very hot room.
1 hour of which was just laughter.
Yeah, and like we were like to the end. The original ending literally ends with me basically like almost like sock puppeting you guys going, someone say Tempest Squadron, please, just for the love of God.
I think I'm the one to do it, yeah.
Say the name.
Hyperspace, and then it's like, this sure was a Tempest Squadron.
Yeah. Literally, the last thing you hear on it is me just going, like, you say, Tempest Squadron, and I quite literally go, fuck it, and press stop.
Yeah.
That's how the recording ends.
Yeah.
And like,
recording.
There's one bit within the last half an hour of I think it's when I had Vela blowing up the last TIE fighter, and literally the only description in the original recording is me going, so she just, fuck it, I'll fix it in post. That's literally the whole description. Like, we were so dying by episode 6, like that end of that recording, because it was as hot as it was today, except we had the windows closed. And
but when you're recording, you need that, really.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's fine today because like it was just a discussion thing, but like.
Yeah, it's a fuck.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you kept your accent up for most of it.
Well, for the most of it, yeah. I mean, it's something I need to practice if we come back and do another Tempest Squadron story, and I'll try and hold it.
I do want to. We've got questions about that in a minute. So,
but with Klein coming into it, I mean, you and AJ and I talked about background, like kind of where he's come from, going into the end of A New Hope, which is where the story begins. And at the time, all I thought was, he was a smuggler. He was from Alderaan, and the only reason he's with the rebels is because he was busted out of prison on Ord Mantell when there was a rebel strike of some kind.
Yeah.
And
so you're kind of hanging out with them because you don't know where else.
They busted me out of prison, yeah. And I think there are bits as the story went on. So I remember AJ came up with some of these little side bits of a story, and I thought, well, this is good character development. Cause
some of them we brought in after the fact of the recording, where I was literally like,
what can we do?
And I was like, I need more time in this edit. Can you come over and record an extra bit?
Yeah. but it definitely worked, because in the first part I had that friend of mine. What was the name of the character again?
Sailor Anro.
Anro, that's it. Yeah. And even though there was there was more stuff that didn't make it into the cut of us talking and interacting.
Not a lot, though. No, there was
maybe 2 or 3 more lines that we did where we were just talking as characters. But in the episode, some of it got cut out. But I felt there was definitely some kind of we've been through stuff, we've worked together before, we're friends.
Yeah.
And then as the story goes on, you discover that Anro was killed.
Well, we came up with that after the fact when it was like episode 2 came in, and it was another case of it's happened every single time. We basically recorded. We recorded 3 sessions and we got 2 episodes out of each one, and of each of the 3 sessions, the second episode we got out of it was always slightly short.
Yeah,
and
you needed something to pad the story out, but it works.
On that second one, I was like, right, we need to come up with a moment, because you'd come over anyway, because I had a couple of lines that
Needed redubbing.
Needed redubbing because they were talked over and they were like... I didn't mean to look directly at you then. But
for those listening, AJ just looked directly at Ollie.
It's fine.
But no, it wasn't... We're all kind of talking over each other and things, and it was just like, I need like...
We're four white men talking about Star Wars. It's all cross-talk all the time.
We all get very excited, yeah.
And there was a lot of talking over each other and things where it's like, I just need a clean take of this. And then I was like, right, can we come up with like a little moment? And that was where we came up with the Klein going to visit... Braylon in his office and like do the
because Amro had a sister on Nar Shaddaa,
and he'd been killed or something.
He had been killed.
I
think with Klein's character, because like I say, he's from Alderaan, and I thought when you came up with the idea of having that moment, I thought, well, this plays better as to why he's got kind of issues like tolerating people, because he's been through quite a bit. He was a prisoner with the Empire for ages. Alderaan was destroyed. He hasn't got a planet anymore, and now his best friend's been killed, and he hasn't got a family anymore. So what's this guy got left? And then when he bumps into Dolce coming out of the office, and Dolce's all happy and cheering, and Klein's just like, I can't deal with this. I've lost everything.
And then on top of that, you got these two making fun of you for saying that you know Princess Leia. And
I was like, don't take this away from me.
I was going to say like that. If we
ripped a little.
I'd say we're both from the same planet. I bumped into her a few times.
But when we get around to doing like the next campaign, I would love a moment where Klein meets Leia.
And she's like, who are you?
Gets completely starstruck, asks a rhetorical question, and she doesn't get it. That would be kind of like Klein fulfilling.
That's the thing with Klein. He's always asking rhetorical questions, but people keep giving him the answers. And that's
the thing I like most about Klein, because he is like the most kind of. I feel of all the characters, he's the one that belongs the most in the Star Wars universe. Obviously, because you put so much more thought into the backstory, which is really great. It's kind of like I feel like he's kind of nominally like the lead character of if there were to be like a film of
Tempest Squadron,
if we were going to do like a Rogue One style movie he'd be kind of like
the Han Solo.
Normally, exactly.
He's the Jyn Erso.
I mean, I'm the one that I definitely deliberately went on my way to notice any moment where I could put in a Star Wars reference, like I have a bad feeling about this.
Yeah, you got
stuff like that.
You got the button. You got the the S4s in attack position. You're like straight in there with each. You're like, I got to be the one to say the line.
There's definitely a bit of Han Solo, kind of the sarcasm and the way he talks to people in there. But part of me was thinking, I want to try, because there are bits where there's humour, and I'm trying to, like with the canteen, with the hole in the ceiling, and I look at Thnock and say, "You really want to bring that up now?" Yeah. There's a bit of Star-Lord in there because I'm a big Marvel fan, and there are bits where the humour where I'm just being sarcastic and like trying to get a point across. It's like, there's a bit of Star-Lord in there, a bit of Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
That's where I was kind of going with it. But visually, because AJ asked us to come up with what we look like, I think my original quote was a cross between Kevin Smith and Sebastian Stan. And that's what came out. That's kind of, I know. So
that's interesting.
Winter Soldier with a Kevin Smith beard and the cap.
Silent Bob with a really tall forehead.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly. That was, but character
bionic arm.
Yeah, but that'd be amazing. Just that's where C-3PO's gold arm went. You're saying, why has he got the red arm in Force Awakens?
Klein took it.
Klein just got it. Yeah. But no, I enjoyed playing Klein, and I loved the little development bits that gave him the story in the early going.
We got there. Yeah, I think. Yeah,
I really enjoyed playing him.
And then
because Thnock and Cortez always just so dry about things that I say. It's like the code word for killing the power. It's like
I got a little frustrated with that because you guys came up with that off microphone and didn't tell me about it.
Yeah, well, I came up with it. I didn't tell anyone at all.
Well, yeah,
did you say Elder Wand? No, Alderaan. Just kill the damn power.
But that's the kind of thing where it would have been really helpful for me to at least have had the moment of you guys going like, okay, so what should we say to instead you literally were just like
we all learned a lot that day.
Instead it's literally like I think
that was the day we died.
I assumed you did. I assumed you came up with it because I paused recording to go use the bathroom, and like I came back and then the next pick we did you were like, okay,
actually, you're right. No, you were like, I did say something. We'll have a code word.
What happened.
Yeah. I can't remember if I said it's going to be Alderaan or something, or I think I said I'll say a word.
Yeah.
You kill the power.
Well, either way, we didn't get it on tape, and it was very confusing for me.
But it was funny because it's again fourth wall breaking on Ice Part. Did you say Alderaan? No.
Yeah.
Alderaan.
Well, that was really helpful for me because I was just like, okay,
it made me fun.
That was fun.
He also doesn't know what the fuck this is.
Yeah, so. Yeah, because there was no bit of you guys telling Thnock that's what
the
So going back to kind of what I was talking about before we get into, we got some questions. Some fine folks on Twitter sent us some questions.
Listen, mail.
Yeah,
the Twitter people.
Yeah, but yeah, on like I was saying before, on each episode, I kind of had moments that I wanted to get in, and not then built the story around it, but I just kind of found ways to get them in. So like I had the idea of like the first episode I was going to have the throne room bit. Second episode I had a cool idea of like you guys kind of fleeing and then rebel ships coming out of hyperspace in front of you, and sort of just this sort of emergency landing type thing. That was very, again, we had this moment in recording where I was like, hey, do you guys remember that Battlestar Galactica episode? And you were all like, no.
Off, nerd.
I guess I'm the only one who watched Battlestar Galactica, but I had kind of like a...
If you asked me about Stargate, I'd have known.
Yeah, but like there's very much like emergency landings on the deck in Battlestar Galactica was what I had in mind for that bit in the second episode.
Oh, when we get into the ship to leave Yavin.
Yeah, where it kind of pulls in front of you and you guys are like, okay, well, let's try and make sure this landing doesn't...
Or like that episode of Entourage where the other agencies ambush Ari when he's trying to make a power move.
Oh yeah, that's a much better analogy. Yeah.
This is the problem when there is so much pop culture out there nowadays.
Actually, I can actually equate that to The Last Jedi as well, because when Poe flies in just as the ship hits hyperspace, it's that kind of moment.
Yeah, just like that.
Yeah, just like that.
There's another reference.
Timely.
Yeah, Tommy Cooper in Star Wars, who'd have thought? Just like that.
AJ had to Kyle so many Tommy Cooper references from this fucking thing.
I can't remember how. I don't think I did any in the recordings.
No.
I'm joking. Because nobody references Tommy Cooper.
I started doubting myself just then.
In the third episode, I had the idea of like, and this kind of stuck around of like the whole airplane graveyard thing, but then except it's for the Clone Wars fleet. So I had this idea of you guys flying over and being like, oh, there's mountains, and then the sun comes up and it's like, whoa, those aren't mountains, those are giant spaceships.
That was really rad. I was like, that's like visually I could see that. Like in my mind I could see that so... Like,
well, that was my idea behind all these moments. Was like, okay, I need something visual that I can sort of say.
Yeah. I think because you put that in the edit, but you also put the music in there, and you definitely can visualise it as it's happening, and it does play out in your head like something you're seeing on the screen, which is... Again, it's where the atmosphere comes into the episode.
Yeah,
so it really does.
And that was. I think each of these kind of visual moments was sort of what I was sort of building around. And I had there wasn't so much in the fourth episode so much because that was the third episode. There was a bit of. I was kind of just going around town, so there wasn't really a visual thing of that. I just had an idea of like standing on a boardwalk, kind of looking out, and it's like a super sunny day. There's no clouds, and it's just this kind of rundown town sort of thing. But that's not so much a striking visual image as much as just like, okay, I've got an idea in my head quite clearly of what everything looks like, even if I didn't.
It's not particularly Star Warsy.
No,
but it is. It's still.
It's a rare moment. It's a rare moment in Star Wars actually to actually be on a planet that. It's just a normal kind of town or city, and it's not like because in Star Wars the extremes are you've either got barren planets that are hot with like with Jawas and Tusken Raiders and the odd farms. You've got Hoth, which is inhospitable to anything except Wampers. You've got Endor, which is full of Ewoks. There's always like the extreme. It's either a jungle planet, a water planet, a sand
this is
this is a city, a living city, which is run down. To me, it felt like a town in South London where I'm from, and it like kind of run down. There's people around, but you can tell it's seen better days.
Well, in my head, it was more kind of like, not to be cliched, but like, kind of like Weymouth.
Yeah,
but like, you know what I mean?
Shout out to my Weymouth people.
I mean, anybody who doesn't live sort of around here is not going to get that. But it kind of, but like run down, if you know what I mean.
It depends. So like, it's Weymouth you go.
It's like a kind of like a seaside town, but like it's not that like out. I think I even said it like seaside town out season kind of thing. Yeah, and exactly, and that's what I had in my head. I was like. Well, that's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, well, it's not, it's about 15 years past its prime kind of thing.
Yeah.
They all are, aren't they?
There's no sea, there's heat wave, there's no ocean.
Yeah. So carrying on, like fourth episode, that was just pretty much you guys in the bar. Although I can't help but visualise you guys all in an elevator getting your guns out, and you're like, Vaylor's there trying to desperately convince you guys not to murder anyone. Which is that was more kind of.
You've got the Imperial March playing like a kind of elevator music in the background. I love that. That was great.
And then the fifth and sixth episodes happened quite quickly, really. Well, not quickly in terms of recording, but there was just like that. There was all kind of like visiting the airplane graveyard, and then I had the idea of a Star Destroyer popping in, and that was kind of like a.
I think that cliffhanger at the end of episode 5 it really, really does set the tone.
I was like, okay, I wanted to put an extra added wrinkle on you guys' plan, which seemed to be going fairly well at that point.
Yeah.
But I had that plan beforehand. It wasn't like I guess I'll just put a Star Destroyer in to mess with them. It was like, okay, at a certain point this is going to come in.
It's a key moment in the story, and it's like, oh shit, what else have we got to put up with?
It ended up not really adding a lot, really, in terms of drama, other than the sort of like extra little threat on top, and then you guys had to have that fight with the TIE fighters afterwards. But
the interceptors and the shuttle. I
feel like the threat is more just sort of like, oh, if you know,
narratively it's like, oh crap, we could better get out of here, rather than like we're about to get in a giant fight. It's like,
if you fuck up like much more, the entire empire is going to be on your ass.
I just wanted to put in that extra thing of like, this, you guys aren't in a bubble here on the planet. This other stuff is, the empire is moving,
We live in a society, guys. Black Mirror told us about this.
Okay, let's get to some Twitter questions, because we've been going for an hour. That's gone very quickly. So we've got a few, so let's start at the beginning. That's right. That's how.
A long time ago.
That's how it works.
Sorry.
So our good friend at Steve Early at Steve Boost. Steve Boost. He always gets involved in these things. Well, this one's more for me, really. So how did making it into an audio drama affect how you? Well, for all of us, really, affect how you planned and played the game? In terms of planning, I think I had to be a bit more rigid than I would be for like D&D. Really, in terms of audio drama, because I certainly had sort of more kind of set pieces that I needed to kind of get across.
You were trying to tell a story.
Yeah, it was more
direct story.
I mean, D&D, I think there was less of the. I mean, not to say that we weren't playing a game, because we definitely did play the game, and then the episodes were then built on top of the game. But I feel like this was more of a kind of, we all went into it knowing, like, okay, this is going to be story first kind of thing.
You had cut scenes essentially.
I had like, okay, so I had ideas of like, it wasn't like, okay, so you guys start in a tavern, where do you want to go? It was like I had a scene with you planned to start off with. The first two episodes really was pretty much scene by scene planned out. So it was more, I think, more than when we did D&D normally on the podcast. It was more like planning a film. At the very least for the first, until you guys came together as a group in like the second episode towards the end.
You also had to plan around sort of involving other actors and other people.
That kind of came in after the fact, really, like, as the main thing with that was like, right, we need to get the game stuff down. But while we were playing, I was conscious of like, okay, I need to get someone to do this part, I need to get someone to do this part. But that didn't really affect my planning when we were going to be playing it. But
I think in playing it, it was because obviously you had the story in mind, and the railroading is really the wrong word here. There was a story there that AJ had. And I think when we were interacting and doing things, we had to think a bit more about not just saying, I'm going to shoot at this guy, I'm going to get in the X-Wing. It was about developing a character, a way of talking to people, and thinking more as an actor rather than as a player.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing I felt was more different. I mean, I've never recorded a D&D podcast before, but I have played D&D, and very rarely does it go into the realms of actually becoming the character fully with voice and with personality. It's about kind of little interactions with the players and then going through the attack phases and things. So here it was definitely a bit of a challenge to think of it as, and we're running through a storyboard.
We played a bit more fast and loose with the game rules, I'd say, than we do when we do D&D and stuff.
Yeah,
like there was like I say, there's still the game. There's still the game element there, but I think the focus was more put on the story and like, okay, we need this to. At least in my head, I was more like I was directing it like a film than a.
Yeah, I think the game stuff came in more with mostly with encounters, whether on the ground or off the ground. The occasional perception check and searching stuff,
and using of sensors and things.
Yes, and
constant using of sensors.
And
in
Ollie's case, using a pass that mysteriously still worked.
That was a bit of a.
Yeah.
I think I even said
that was a fluke.
I think I'd message you guys in between the first and second session saying like, I've added some stuff to your inventories, and then I just didn't do it. Like, and one of the things I was going to put in was your key card, and then but like I'd been so busy editing, I hadn't had a chance to actually add that to your character sheet. And then I don't know what I was gonna like. I don't know what my plan was there. I was just going to hope that you looked over and went, "Oh, I got a key card, I guess." But like, so there was a couple of moments where, even when we were playing, rather than doing it in post, I was just like, "Okay, just to point you guys in the right direction, just to point you guys in the direction that I need this scene to go in." You still had to kind of figure out some stuff, but it was just like, okay. I was more dropping hints than I would normally do when playing a game, if that makes sense.
Well, I think, like you said, it's like this is different from just like playing a game like D&D. This is like this is Star Wars.
This was more of a production.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a cinematic thing, and it makes more sense to focus on the story than on the gameplay. I get it. Like I preferred it that way rather than it made it so much more fun to play and then listen back to rather than it just being kind of like a you have to check for this or roll that or whatever. Yeah, and it's you rolled too low, so not only did you not do the thing, it also means you can't then try and do it again. You can't you critically failed or whatever.
I think that would stifle storytelling a bit.
Yeah, in general, not even just for the Star Wars thing though. I think we tend to be a little bit light on the rules with recording.
What?
Not that we're not following them. We do, but it's sort of. I think it works better in the podcast format to be a bit rules light, and we just took that the extra step this time around. I think. But yeah, like I say, in terms of planning was a bit more extensive than it is normally,
especially in between sessions.
Yeah. Steve Boost's second thing, so it's kind of as a follow-up of that, is also how many hours into editing, mixing the first episode did I realise I'd made a horrible mistake. Fairly quickly.
1 minute 14 seconds.
Horrible mistake?
No, in terms of like, oh god, this is doing the audio drama thing.
Editing.
I think with the first episode was fine because we recorded a fair way. I say a fair way. We gave ourselves 3-4 weeks in between the recording and when the first one was coming out.
Yeah.
I think we recorded on the 5th, and then the second, and then it came out on the 25th.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's the same day as Solo.
Also, I'd like to bet that the first episode was easier to edit because it was literally for us, well, all four of us, but you guys, AJ, all three of us individually. Neither of us had hung out before, so we were coming in like, oh, how, maybe there was a sense of who's going to be like, who's this person in the room, and
who's going to be the cool guy?
Who's going to be the dick, basically.
Well, I think it's all that kind of thing, because we're already having to, quote, act on this thing, which is always, for anybody,
Not
probably
for yourself.
That's that sense of like, oh, we're going to do something in front of people, and we literally never met each other before.
Yeah.
So I think that first one, we probably played it along the line a bit more for you. But I think the second episode, we're like, oh, well, we know each other.
The first episode as well. Yeah, the first episode as well was, if anything, slightly less complicated than some of the other stuff.
Just starting it up.
The stories were kind of solo.
You guys kind of had your little solo scenes, and I think there was only 3 additional voices recorded for that one.
Yeah.
Teresa did. This is before we'd even recorded any bits where there was Vaylor in it. She did Princess Leia's voice for the speech at the beginning. Rowena did some KLC stuff in that first episode.
Yeah.
And Thane from Moisture Farmers podcast did Kane's voice.
Yeah.
But those were the only additional voices. Because I think even at that stage, like, I knew I was going to be replacing some NPCs, but I still thought I'm going to be doing most of the voices. So as a consequence, I'm doing General Dodonna, and I'm doing Braylon, and I'm doing Vard, and I'm doing Dolce, and I'm doing Sailor, like Anro and stuff in that first episode. So I was just like, this is going to be the way it is, because D&D I do all the voices, and I'm just like, okay, yeah, it's fine, whatever. So yeah, the first episode was okay. I think it was mainly towards the end of that first edit, and then before I started going to the second one, that I was just like, this is just going to be, this is a lot of work.
Fuck this.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. So we've got a few questions from at Taishao on Twitter. First question, when will the next season of Tempest Squadron be? Second question, no, really, when will the next series of Tempest
really
Squadron
likes the first season, then.
Yeah, thanks so much.
I would like to thank my mum for joining Twitter specifically.
Is that not your dad?
Take that as a compliment.
I'm super glad Taysha has enjoyed it.
Not for a while.
Next year, I think.
Yeah,
I need a break.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough.
All right, pick a limb. I'll help you out.
Well, no, to be honest, actually, even from a logistical standpoint, like we're recording D&D tonight and next week, and then that will fully fill out the rest of the year's schedule for episodes. So,
how far in advance do you normally plan?
Not that far in advance. It's just Jason, who plays Enade on our D&D episodes. His wife's having a baby, so we want to get as much done.
Congratulations!
Yeah, she's not having it yet.
No. Don't get too excited. Just not anything yet.
So we're in a bit of a rush at the moment to just get as much down as possible. So not normally that far in advance.
No. I'm definitely up for playing Klein again. Definitely.
Yeah, no, I'm super psyched to.
Yeah.
It may end up being sort of this time next year, like similar time frame of like.
Thank God we're going to do it in the
hot.
Do it when it's hot again. Well, we might be able to like record it early. In fact, if anything, that would help me a lot. If we can record it earlier on in the year.
When the weather's not trying to kill us.
Not in July.
That's just.
That was like, oh god.
Yeah,
that was a mistake.
From May to July in the real kind of like peak of that 6-week heat wave.
The problem is recording this on the south coast. The peak, the kind of the sweet spot for recording stuff and not dying in a room with very little air conditioning is sort of February to early April.
Yeah,
and then after that, until you get to the end of August, it's just you will die.
Yeah. We say recording this on August the 4th.
Yeah, because I actually have the same issue because I live not around the road from AJ, and when I've got a band thing going. When I try and record in my studio, within 10 minutes, I just can't do it anymore. It's just so exhausting.
It's so hot.
It is. It's horrible.
Yeah,
but next season probably start airing maybe the same time this next year that this one did. So May time.
Yeah,
I think it'll be awesome. I promise my accent will be better next time.
Yeah, you got a year to work on it.
I'm going to look for some elocution lessons.
I think I've got. I can help you with that with my vocal. That's another thing we didn't talk about. My vocal warm-ups whenever we would check the mics.
Mommy.
Was it get money?
Fuck, bitches. Get money. Get money. Your mama's nasty booty hole. Your mama's nasty booty hole.
Oh no, he started.
That cracked us up. It cracked me up. I don't know about these guys, but I was cracked every time we did that.
It was funny the first time.
I find it funny. I find it funny every time, but that's just me. No, Ollie, I find it funny every time. So please keep doing it.
People love it.
Yeah.
People being.
I'm Marquez, and I endorse the get money message.
Yeah.
The get money message.
But yeah, no, I'm totally psyched for more Tempest Squadron anytime.
I think we're going to.
Yeah.
I don't want to confirm this yet because we'll have to see how it goes, and depending on schedules and things, we're going to try and have Teresa in the room when we record as well from next time, hopefully.
Oh, that would be
a girl.
What the hell was that reaction? A girl.
I need to upgrade my setup a little bit. Speaking of, I upgraded it in December so I just need a bigger board and another microphone basically, and we're good to go. But yeah, I think that would be hopefully something we'll do for season 2. Have sort of the more people around the table thing.
Yeah, I need a bigger table.
Yeah, I might even buy a table at some point. Yeah. Did we use the ironing board? We did use the no. We didn't own this because
not for this. Yeah, no, but we have used the ironing board.
I've seen pictures of the ironing board.
Yeah, you're the only one with a folding table. So
a spider-infested folding table.
Absolutely not the reason why you were asked.
It's its own category.
Okay, so Tayshal's second question. Listening to the Tempest Squadron episodes, I felt fully immersed in the Star Wars universe. How much time was spent per episode adding in all the effects, etc.?
Too bloody much.
AJ.
A lot. Probably, it kind of varied episode per episode, but probably about 35 to 40 hours per episode after, not including recording time.
Jesus.
So watch the MCU like 6 times and you've got your amount of time.
I was basically putting in like full-time hours on the podcast and then going to work in the evenings.
Wow.
Sort of thing. But yeah, it takes a lot. Like the editing when we do D&D, like a D&D episode would be about an hour long, and not counting sound effects, like it takes me maybe twice that to do the edit. This time I was a bit more with this I took a lot longer just to do that basic edit, even before changing anything in, just to get it really like how what I wanted from the original. And then after that, which we haven't done before, I'd go back in and replace my bits of narration that I don't think were quite good enough, or like I wanted to just tweak some bits. But that then involved going through right from the beginning, cutting a bit out, scripting out another bit, re-recording that, getting that how I wanted and stuff. So like, yeah, it just, the time added up and that. Sound effects mix didn't take too long, to be honest, on each one, but the music...
Was that the original music for a lot of it?
Yeah, the first few episodes I was all just using music that I was doing myself.
Yeah.
And then I gave up towards the end. And just,
I think episode six.
There is so much John Williams in that last episode.
There's a lot of repurposed.
Shout out to JW.
Yeah, a lot of repurposed and split tracks to put that together.
Yeah, but for the first 5 episodes it was all, but that takes a long time as well. So yeah, a lot. About 35 to 40 minutes 40 hours per episode.
Personally, I think it's amazing that you were able to do all this among not only just because obviously you got a job as well, but you also have other things you're recording and making content for as well around it. And
I need a holiday.
It is startling. I think AJ definitely does a hell of a job putting this together at the expense of his own mental well-being. But he does. It comes out brilliantly, I must be honest.
It's I mean, this was a bit of an experiment anyway, to just see how far, because we've started doing like sound effects and things on D&D, but again,
you said early on you wanted to see how far you could push this.
Yeah, that
just for the sake of it.
Yeah, just to see like, okay, can we take that a bit further? And I think we've done an okay job.
I think it's been successful.
It's kind of got to Apocalypse Now level, like you've like Coppola just like driven yourself insane, like just
helicopters dropping. He's like, keep filming.
Yeah,
it's paid off. It's definitely paid off.
Yeah, no, I'm glad people seem to be enjoying it. So
and the experiment has worked.
Yeah,
next year we'll be killing live cows for it.
Got to get that.
Must make a sacrifice to the sun god.
That Foley sound.
Yeah.
So Tayshar's next bit then. So this is more for. This is a kind of general question. We sort of touched on it earlier. What would the plan have been if Snock had been captured crawling through the vents?
Leave him.
Yeah, just fuck off without him. He's tiny git.
Yeah, I mean, this was the thing, is because you
lived a good life.
Because you two left him, like there wouldn't have really been anything you could do.
You wouldn't have known.
You wouldn't have known. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You could have made a living just scuttling around the air vents, freaking out Imperials.
Talked your way out of the situation.
I probably would. Yeah, I think Fnock would have either shot his way out or bribed his way out. Because he is constantly chucking money at people,
really aggressively,
using old ID cards as well.
So I think there'd be he's a fairly well seasoned confidence trickster.
He's abrasive.
So either like talk his way out and act like he belongs there using his ID card, or bribe his way out. Or just murder people till he got to the door. And
put holes in ceilings.
Yeah.
In GM terms, I think if you'd have been fully captured, I think some kind of interrogation scene would have been fun.
Yeah.
I had a lot of options depending on what you guys decided to do.
Yeah.
Like, I was actually fully prepared if one of you were like, why can't we just fly the Tempest out of here? To see where we went with that. No, you didn't think of that.
No.
Yeah.
Could have stolen a Star Destroyer. You didn't bother.
Behind the scenes.
I had a lot of stuff like that where I was like, well, maybe they'll do this. As I said earlier, I did not have a plan for you guys splitting up. That was the one thing. It was just like, in hindsight, I probably should have. But I had a lot of kind of alternate things of like, well, what if they try this? What if they don't?
I wonder how different it would have been if we'd actually managed, if we did do that and got the Tempest out of the atmosphere and back to the Rebels.
Well, then we would have maybe had a big space fight with the other Star Destroyer and
with the Dauntless.
Yeah. Which would have been interesting as well. Also, 5 of you if you count the Doctor,
Cortez
trying to run a giant Star Destroyer, which
Cortez trying to do a barrel roll on the Star Destroyer.
Oh God, can you imagine? Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
In a parallel universe, we have actually done that in the story.
I think those are meant though. I like, it's got the stats in the rulebook for those, and I think the crew complement is meant to be like 1,500 people.
To run one of those things.
Yeah, to run one of those things and run all the guns and stuff and things. So I feel like you guys maybe on the bridge might have been able to get it up and flying, but like wouldn't have had a lot of chance in running.
People and 5 droids.
When we were walking around the Star Destroyer, it genuinely crossed my mind, but I just didn't say it at the time. I was thinking, like, if you're wanting to, I mean, I just didn't even think to even think of it because of the fact of, like, there are 5 people. You're not going to move a ship. We
could have explored it. That was the thing.
I suppose. But like, in my head, I was theory. I was just like,
in my brain now, I'm just thinking we could have all just got everyone onto the Tempest, including the Close Encounter, flown that into space, and then angled it away from the Dauntless so that the Dauntless would attack the Star Destroyer, and we would just like leave the hangar and go to hyperspace that way.
Yeah, that could have worked.
That could have worked. Yeah.
Season 2.
Season 2. We go back and try again.
You know, if Nock had been captured, I reckon Season 2 would have revolved around us trying to rescue him.
Yeah,
at least at the start.
Possibility.
At least at the start. Yeah,
possibility. So another one kind of for you this time. Which droid did Thnock as an Ugnaught want to disassemble most? Glitchy or the bartender?
Oh, the bartender, definitely. Yeah. For some reason I took a shine to Glitchy. Like, I just... like
even before we got Mike in to do the voice.
Even before, like, my writing partner Mike was doing the voice. I just... Yeah, it's just something about Glitchy, you know, because I was like fully prepared to just. I think we even talk about it in the episode. Like me and Klein are both just sort of like, I was fully ready to just shoot his head off, and then but
he really grew on you really quickly.
Yeah, we don't for some reason. I think it's because he's just like, just this broken guy that is just so confident in like everything that he's saying, and none of it is correct, and so much data is missing. Whereas that bartender was. Pretty snotty, and I
don't think he had much of a concept of being threatened.
You Glitchy.
Yeah, the bartender.
That was also what was infuriating.
No, the bartender did. This was the thing. The bartender was smarter than he was letting on, and then I also had an alternate plan of like if you guys did try and just by force, like you could shut him down and try and take the data out of him, and then you would have had. I don't know. I had some sort of vague plans of like, no, it was we could have gone that route as well.
So the insistence we had about, we're here for V, and he kept saying us, come back tomorrow. We just weren't listening.
Yeah, well, that was to be honest, that was all he had. He was literally like, this was the backstory I had in my head, is that like when she first smuggled her father onto the planet, that was where they were they're not hiding out there, but that was like. She knew the owner somehow, and like her father fixed the droid for him, so she was able to put like a subroutine in there to sort of like almost like program him some data from like a distance.
Yeah.
So literally the only data he had was like if a group of people that he hasn't seen before come in and ask for V, he would like silently signal her to say like somebody's asked, and her response would be like tell them. Come back the next day, and he had no other information.
So it's like
essentially it's like an answering machine.
Yeah, like
he
like he doesn't know that.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't know where she was. He didn't know anything else, and that. So, but you guys kept threatening, be like, "Where is V?"
Yeah, that was funny.
It was kind of funny.
Anyone walking past, hearing us shouting, "Where is V? We want V!" Just God knows what was going through there.
John did a great job with the voice on that as well.
Yeah, yeah. I think all the voice.
I wanted like
fantastic.
Oh yeah, everyone's been great.
Except for that one guy. You know who you are.
Just get everybody like, oh god, is it me? No.
Which guy is he referring to?
Everyone's been really great. I mean, some people just did like a couple of like short lines here and there, and then other people were doing multiple character voices and things. I say Teresa did Vela, and she did Princess Leia. Which is going to be fun if we do that Klein meets Princess Leia bit.
I think that's where this is all building to, definitely.
We'll get Vela and Princess Leia in the room together, and we can have them talk with each other.
That would be interesting.
Klein meets like Princess Leia, and then he comes back over to like to Cortez and Thnock, and we're just like, oh, is it your girlfriend?
Fuck you guys. It'd be good if Teresa is in for the next game. I think that would really change the dynamic up a bit.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun, and it'll be a continuation.
By Han Solo would be pretty funny.
Why would you put that image in my head? How many beers have you drunk?
So we're going to skip forward to like the next season is right just before Empire Strikes Back, and we're on Hoth base, and Klein and Leia are dating.
Well, they're kind of.
She happens to like nice men.
They're not really sure what it is. They're not really.
Yeah, it's kind of a bit of a Ross and Rachel thing. They're on a break, and then the Empire invades, and she flies off with Han Solo.
Yeah.
We were on
a break.
Okay, so the final question from Tayshal. When did Adam realise he could do a passable impression of Admiral Akbar? I mean, about 5 minutes before I recorded that bit.
Because you threatened to do it with water in your mouth, didn't you?
I was thinking of it, yeah, because I was like, he needs to kind of like, but I ended up just doing this kind of sort of thing. But yeah, no, it's funny. Okay, so the Admiral Akbar voice, like if I made sure when Braylon came in, he was like, Admiral Akbar, sir. Just so everybody immediately was already thinking Akbar, because I'm very conscious that Admiral Akbar's voice is very similar to Vard's voice.
Yeah.
And
they're one and the same.
It's just that guy.
It's also very similar to Richard Nixon. And
it's all about the jowl.
Yeah. Like
it's a crock.
Exactly.
It's a trap.
But here's how close they are. So Akbar's kind of like this, and Vard's kind of like this, and Richard Nixon's not a crook. It's very.
It's all in there.
They're all three completely distinct voices.
Yeah, they're all kind of similar.
Has Nixon seen a few moons?
He's got tapes of them.
Zing.
Political humour from the 1970s. But yeah, no, voices. This has really kind of gotten me back into doing voices a bit, really, and like I got to do voice direction for the first time, really. Because you guys kind of did your own thing in the recordings and that was all good. But getting people in to do the re-records of the NPCs and stuff, and some of them were done online and that, like all of Rowena's KLC lines were done over Discord, because there's like, you know, certain people just live a distant, you know, they can't come over, you know. But yeah, just learning how to kind of get performances that I needed out of people and that, and it's been fun. But like just having to do different voices myself and that, like even in that first episode, like I say, I did Braylon, so I had to kind of put on a little bit of an American sort of, hey, how's it going? A little bit kind of,
a little bit of Keith Sullivan.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that in there. Who else did I have in that first episode? Well, Vard, which that was just in the moment, kind of.
Fly,
yeah.
Like, hey, how's it going?
Fan favorite.
Fan favorite Vard.
You're giving out medals.
At least your dad liked him.
Someone's got to like him.
Yeah.
He's a good character.
But then,
we all love Vard. I hope Vard comes back for season 2.
He's got to come back and just wind up. He's got a wind up call to.
He's technically your guy's boss. He got promoted. You know.
Oh yay!
Like that's a little bit of a plot hole as to why you guys were sent off without anybody in charge of you. But I feel like I should have sent Vard along with you.
Yeah,
that would have been kind of funny. But
then, you know, we completed this mission successfully, so who knows? We might, you know.
Yeah, you might medals.
Yeah, we don't need that punk.
Give you guys some medals.
Yeah. Hey, join me over here in the medal cabinet.
Yeah, there's a table right here for people with medals.
No Wookiees, wink.
Am I right?
But yeah, no, then I had like a whole bunch of others, and it was that point I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to do a bit of voice work and exercise. Like I had to watch through all of like the brief scenes that General Dodonna's in episode 4 to be
another
like,
gruff
what
man.
Does this guy sound like? So it's kind of, you come over here, sort of like this, the Death Star plans, and it's just And then I ended up pitch shifting my voice down slightly as well, and you know, little bits and pieces. But yeah, it was fun doing voices, and Akbar was really came out of the fact of that end of that last recording session was
so abrupt.
It was very abrupt, and it felt forced, and we were clearly all like dying and didn't want to be there anymore.
Yeah,
and if it's just like it would have been it would have been super. Yeah, it would have been a little kind of awkward and forced, the ending without that. And I was just like, I had this idea of like, okay, we'll just skip along a few days and. You know, so you go. The last we see of you guys is you go into hyperspace, and then it's like we're kind of checking in, and like your boss is having to explain to his boss what went on, sort of thing. And
yeah, if you had to put a visual stamp on it, it's we go to hyperspace. Like if it was a film, and then as the music change after your narration, it's like you get the screen wipe that you get in a Star Wars film where it moves to another scene.
Yeah, and there's the fleet there, forward. And it's like Akbar's office, and
so it definitely works. It's a better ending than the one we kind of threw out right at the end.
What I was hoping
we didn't know what to
for,
say. I think we all looked at each other because we were getting communications from was it Braylon or was it
I don't remember
somebody on the rebel ship, and we were looking at each other and I just went, it's Time Archer of Tempest Squadron, mission complete,
and it was like, that'll do, screw it, we're done. It's
definitely more cinematic end, and it did feel like as the music played out towards the end credits, it felt like there would be a wide shot of us just hanging out in the lounge,
pulling out,
just chilling out, and
Tnoch's in the corner jerking off.
No, I'm envisioning he's in the corner with Dolce in a headlock, just going.
Yeah, what you just? I just still think it's funny that like for no apparent reason you're just like, I hate this guy, and then it became mutual by the end where like Dolce's like, I really hate that Ugnaught.
Actually,
that voice was a little weird to do as well.
That was when I messaged and said, "Did you throw a Jurassic Park reference in?"
Yeah.
Which not consciously, but like, there's a lot of bits like that.
Of Attenborough, he's like, I really hate that.
You do actually have dinosaurs. Dinosaur tour, right?
Yeah, I think it might have been a subconscious thing with that line,
worked.
But it works in Jurassic Park, and I might have, I'm basically making the same joke there.
Yeah.
Where like you guys hang up and like,
I really hate that man.
I really hate that Ugnaught.
And that's what
and then towards the end when you were just like, just avoid, don't get shot, and he's like, that's the plan. You're just like,
when I'm doing that, I'm making the jerk off motion.
Season 2, they've got to have some kind of back and forth in a scene. I really want.
They're just gonna say screw it and get a room.
We're just gonna be really good friends.
And we won't even mention it again.
I'm just gonna be. Dolce's gotten married, and I was the best man at his wedding.
Well, I thought you'd get married to KLC actually, and he was the best man at yours.
How dare you? Our relationship is professional.
Is it now?
Yeah. Okay.
Unlike you and Princess Leia.
There's a throwaway comment.
The KLC knows who I am.
There was a throwaway comment. Everyone's just jumped on it.
It was like you left yourself open to it. Mate. You were just like he was like anything, bro. He was like anything you guys want to say, and you're just like, say hi to the princess for me, and like
everyone was like, what? Excuse me? Like,
it was.
We're both from Alderaan. I knew her growing up. Whatever.
Yeah, there's billions of people on Alderaan. It's like saying,
you're saying she's never interacted with anyone from Alderaan before.
No, but like, whatever. Okay, so we got one last question from Eden, who's coming around in like 5 hours to play D&D. So this is just to cap the whole thing then. So what force power would each of you take given the chance, and how would you put it to good use?
Serious answers or
I'll leave it up to you.
I mean, hide. And I'd open this by just saying that, Star Wars isn't actually about force powers. The force itself is...
It's the friends we made along the way. Yeah.
The real forces.
No.
The real forces inside
the real
all
forces,
of us.
Yeah, it's around us.
It penetrates us.
And binds
the
us.
galaxy together.
Yeah. But, that being said... in game version, I would have probably just said like Jedi intuition, just to
Yeah,
that's what.
So to avoid getting shot those 2 times.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah, deflections and things.
Tez did get shot a lot in this.
Yeah,
I took
twice. You got shot in the shoulder, and then in your X-wing you got hit.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And in your Y-wing earlier on as well.
Yeah, you did.
I'd forgotten about that.
I'm a magnet for abuse sometimes and pain, and can't roll a dice for shit.
Well, it's going to become like that sort of running joke in the X-Files where Scully is immortal. Like it's just
kind of. I thought you were going to say
the other way though.
The running joke about Mulder watching porn.
Oh yeah, no, that is what. No, that's.
I mean, I have that too.
Constantly jacking off, but
we'll see if that joke makes it into season 2. We've acknowledged it now.
I think an Ugnaught.
It's canon.
I think Tnoch as an Ugnaught, maybe Jedi jumping would be quite good.
I was going to say, force jump would just
bounce,
jumping up through the vents
on a practical level. Yeah, jumping up through the vents, jumping in the faces of people that think they're better than me. Yeah.
You think you're better than me?
I kill you! I kill all of you!
Jump up.
I mean, in real life, I would have Force Lightning just so I could charge my phone. without needing a wall socket. That'd be great.
You can explode your phone if you throw it at an enemy.
In real life, I have enemies that deserve to have overcharged iPhones thrown at them. In fact, no, I'd use Foresight to fry every Apple product on the planet. I hate Apple. Yeah. But
way to make it political.
Oh yeah, fuck Apple, man. Fuck you. No, in character, I would probably want the ability of Jedi mind trick, so I could just convince everybody to understand when I'm saying a fucking rhetorical question.
I think that was just a fun running joke, really. It was just the fact.
Yeah, it is. Especially the first episode is when it started with Dol J.
Yeah, that wasn't meant to be he doesn't understand a rhetorical question. That's just he's quite stressed out. And the question, the question you'd asked could have been rhetorical or not.
It could have been, yeah.
And then after that, like I just was funny every time having people just answer you every time you ask one of those questions.
Yeah, very literal.
Dol J did it. Vela did it.
Well, that wasn't on purpose. That was her going, and then you were just like, "Why don't you get rhetorical questions?" And that was really awkward in the edit because not awkward, but it was like weird because I was like, "Well, that wasn't really a rhetorical question." Okay, well, let's just.
You think? To me, that's
no, but that was before that. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, either way,
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, for that one, I said you think, but that'd be my power. Just convince people to understand. What about you, AJ? What would you have in life and in the game?
I'd have like that. What's the thing where they like can meditate for a short time and be completely renewed and not tired?
Yeah, that'd be sweet. Yeah,
it would save so much time.
Yeah,
regeneration.
I'm so tired, you guys.
Yeah.
Not just from today.
Actually, I would. On a separate note, I'd love the ability to regenerate, as in Doctor Who. That'd be my thing.
Well, we're not talking about Doctor Who.
No.
Today,
He just Smart B just said regeneration. I jumped on an opportunity.
Yeah.
But so you'd have that, would you?
Yeah, because I'm just super tired. No, it would be helpful just because, like, I'm always tired. That's my secret.
That's what we do.
I'm always tired.
That's my secret, Cat. I'm always.
That was the joke. Yes.
Yeah. I had to reiterate.
We had fun.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Okay,
it's been good.
Yeah, it's been fun. We'll be back for season 2 next year, probably.
We will.
Peace out, bitches.
That's Star Warsy.
Okay, so all right, so that's this. I've been AJ.
I've been Mark.
I've been the other Mark.
I've been cool.
Oh yeah,
just humble as ever.
And may the force be with everything.
May the force be with you.
Hey, what up? It's your boy Ollie.
Yep.
See you later, Star Wars guys.
We'll see you on season 2, guys.
Yeah. Okay, that's going to do it for this episode. Our next episode, the first part of our Shadowrun storyline, will be available as usual in 2 weeks' time on Thursday, the 30th of August. In the meantime, you can get in contact with us on Twitter and Facebook, both of which we're at Pretend With Dice. You can also email us at pretendingwithdice@outlook.com. If you're an iTunes user, it'd be really great if you could leave us a rating and review. It all helps us to find new listeners, and we'd love to hear what you think of the podcast. So for now, that's our show. I hope you all enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.